सांगे वर्णई भक्त सांगे शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजनानु मृदंग पाठ्य सुनिते माना अबसर साध जाशे मृदंग पाठ्य सुनिते माना अबसर साध जाशे गौरविहत कीर्तन सुनी गौरविहत कीर्तन सुनी आनंदे हृदय नाचे गौरविहत कीर्तन सुनी आनंदे हृदय नाचे शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजनानुकूल भृगल मूर्ति देखिया मोरा परमानंद होए जुगल मूर्ति देखिया मोरा जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय राधे जय कृष्णा जुगल मूर्ति देखिया मोरा परमानंद होया प्रसाद सेवा करिते होया प्रसाद सेवा करिते होया सकल प्रपंच जाया प्रसाद सेवा करिते होया सकल प्रपंच जाया शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भक्त अनुकूल जेदिन गृहे भजन देखी गृह ते गोलोक भाया जेदिन गृहे भजन देखी गृह ते गोलोक भाया चरण सिद्धू देखिया गंगा चरण सिद्धू देखिया गंगा सुख सीमा पाया चरण सिद्धू देखिया गंगा सुख सीमा पाया शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भक्त अनुकूल तुलसी देखी चुराया प्राण तुलसी देखी चुराया प्राण माधव दोष निजानी तुलसी देखी चुराया प्राण वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी तुलसी देखी चुराया प्राण माधव तोषिनी जानी गौर प्रिया शाख सेवने गौर प्रिया शाख सेवने जीवन सार्थक मानी गौर प्रिया शाख सेवने जीवन सार्थक मानी शुद्ध भक्त चरण रे भक्त अनुकूल भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पाय जाय भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पाय जाय प्रातिदिवशे परम सुखे प्रातिदिवशे परम सुखे स्वीकार कोरयता प्रातिदिवशे परम सुखे स्वीकार कोरयता शुद्ध भक्त चरण रे भजनानुकूल भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेम लाती कर मूल भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेम लाती कर मूल शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजन को हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabuji, for the same. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So beautiful. I like that bhajan very much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome back. Glad to see everyone. So first, we'll offer our prayers to our Guru Parampara, seeking their mercy and blessings. And then we'll have a short recap from what we covered last weekend. And then we will get into the today's sutras, right? So that is the brief rundown. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namah. O most beneficent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Tisha Krishnam Sangopangostra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Sastra Vicharnaika Nipunau Shadadharma Samstapakau लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मान्यौ शरण्याकरौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद भजना आनंदेन मत्तालिकौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुयुगौ श्री जीव गोपालकौ. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the 3 worlds and are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narom Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Hare Krishna again. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Shri Prabhupada. Welcome back. So before I start today's verses, I have no idea who is going to recap what we covered last week. And Haribol, Sharat Prabuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Nitya Sakhi Mataji will be giving the synopsis today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. I am audible? Haribol?
Yes, Mataji, audible.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to everyone. So we are going through Sri Narada Bhakti Sutra sessions. And last week, His Grace Charuchandra Prabhuji briefed about lesson 2. And lesson 2 included sutras from Narada Bhakti Sutra from 2 to 7. So 2 to 7, actually 2 to 14 sutras, it includes the value of devotion. And last week for lesson 2, he has elaborated on the positive characteristics of unalloyed devotee. So sutras 2 to 7 includes the positive characteristics of the devotee through rendering unalloyed devotional service, what is the love of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So from this Sutra 2 to 7, Prabhuji tried to answer the questions: what is the fruit of unalloyed bhakti? What is the positive characteristic of pure devotion service? How to understand the Jivan Mukta stage, and to understand that devotee is having immortal position and the eternal position. So Sutra 2, it was like devotional service manifests as the most elevated pure love for God. So in this, we have seen that there is love for Godhead, Sri Krishna, to pure devotee. And here we do find that on Jnana Marga, the person is self-realized and at Brahma Bhuta stage, and it is just the beginning for Bhakti. But for Bhakta, it is not required. So there are 3 types of transcendentalists, that is, who worship Brahman, Paramatma, and Supreme Personality of Godhead. The one who has attained the perfection will obey or will pray and will devote to Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the one believes that living being is not the body but the soul. Not only that, in the further stages, we can find that the person or devotee who will understand that he will be situated, or he or she will be situated at Das Dasanudas position, so as to serve to the devotees of the Lord. So in this, it has been explained by Prabuji that yes, one who attains a full faith in Krishna, so that is the beginning for the pure devotional service, which is being called as Shraddha. So it has been explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Bhakti starts from Shraddha. So Shraddha is entry door for Bhakti, which goes through Sadhu Sang, then Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, then Nishtha, then Ruchi, then Asakti, then Bhava and Prema. So it has been all the stages, they were in short explained in this Sutra number 2. In Sutra 3, it elaborates that the pure love for God is eternal. So this Sutra tried to explain the Sambandha Gyan about Lord, who are we and who is Lord, and the supreme position of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it has been explained that how is Lord? He is Aishwarya Sampanna. His all Leela's activities, they are Divya Janma Karma Chame Divyam. It has been explained, as well as the one who is situated at Jivan Mukta stage. So understands about immortality and understands that your love for Godhead is eternal. So at this position, one understands that one is the servant of Lord. Then, and fourth sutra, it has been explained that upon achieving that stage of transcendental devotional service in pure love of God, a person becomes perfect, immortal, and peaceful. So, what to explain? So, these are the benefits one will achieve with bhakti. So, will attain the perfection stage, will become immortal, and will have peace and shanti, what we can say. So in this devotee, the one who is situated in devotional service of Lord, feels that one is not body but the soul. Not only that, feels that more than self-realization, feels that I am the servant of Lord and his devotees. Then Sutra 5 explains that a person engaged in such pure devotional service neither desires anything for sense gratification, nor laments for any loss, nor hates anything, nor enjoys anything on his personal account, nor becomes very enthusiastic in material endeavors. So, in this sutra, it has been explained as per nectar of instruction, some do's and don'ts to be followed. That is pravrutti rupa and nivrutti rupa, do's that what we are supposed to do, the 6 activities which will favor pure devotional service. That is utsahat nishayat dharmat, utsahat nishayat dhairyat, tattat karma pravartanat, sangat saga satorutte shadbir bhakti prasiddhiti. So these are the don'ts. One should have desire to serve Lord. One should have patience, courage enough. Then one should follow the spiritual masters. One should follow Shravan Kirtanadi Bhakti, Asas Sangatag that is required. From don'ts, it is explained that Atyahara Prayasasya Prajalpo Niyamagraha Janasangasya Lolasya Shadbir Bhakti Vinashti. So once pure devotional service, it will be lost if one is indulged in all these activities, that is Atyahar, Prayasasya, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha, Janasangasya, Lolasya. So these are the 6 endeavors one should not allow in their life, so as to follow the pure devotional service. In 6th sutra, we can find that one who understands perfectly the process of devotional service in love of Godhead becomes intoxicated in its discharge. Sometimes he becomes stunned in ecstasy and thus enjoys the whole self being engaged in the service of Supreme Self. So here it has been said that Bhakti is glorious, and Bhakti is more auspicious. It is the auspicious one, and it is Ananda Mayobhyasa. The one who is situated at this stage will show ecstatic symptoms, like we have seen the symptoms, ecstatic symptoms, which were shown by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Mayavadis. Then in Sutra 3, it has been explained that there is no question of lust in the execution of pure devotional service, because in it all material activities are renounced. The person has three types of desires. Basically, the first is for material desires, the second desire for liberation, and third one is desire for bhakti, pure devotional service. The one serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well as his devotees. And so one will align, the one who is situated at the stage will allow his or her desires to align with the desire of Lord. And so there is no question of lust. As most of the materialists, they do see the love of gopis as the lust. But we know that how Lord reciprocated with the gopis and said that you have worshipped me and cutting off all domestic ties, and which are difficult to break. So therefore, please let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. So Lord reciprocated Gopi's love in this way. And it is not Atmendriya Priti, but Krishnendriya Priti. So we are supposed to align our desires so as to serve Lord Krishna, and it will be the more renowned state. So Hare Krishna. Now we'll go for lesson. Hare.
Charu Prabhu, I think you are on mute, Prabhu.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, YG.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Okay, there we are. So everybody can see this first slide, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
We can. We are going to lesson 3, and that is Sutras 8 through 14. We did last weekend, on the very first day, we did the opening Sutra number 1, and then the following day we did 2 to 7. That Mataji just wonderful, brilliantly summarized. So today we are going to do 8 to 14, and the title overall is Renunciation in Pure Bhakti. Okay, so everybody should have a pretty good idea what pure bhakti is involved. Ananya Bhakti, unalloyed Bhakti, pure Bhakti, these are the different terms, what it means that we should have a single pointed focus on Sri Krishna, whose Bhakti we really aspire for, And in that process, in rendering, somebody's microphone is on, please turn it off, if I may. So pure devotional service, in order to render that, we need to be prepared to give up certain things that might present obstacles on our path. So that is what we are going to focus on that. And some of the very difficult aspect when we talk about Shastra, scriptures, there are many times, more often than not, contradictions are there. Contradictions are, even though they are apparent, not real, but it comes across to us really sharp contrast. Sometimes we feel that contrast couldn't be any further sharper than that, and yet they are apparent. So we are going to see the example of that in today's class. That is the highlight, what we are going to be discussing today. And tomorrow we will then continue Sutras 15 through 21. So that we already talked about what is pure devotional service, single pointed focus on one Supreme Personal Godhead. There are no two Supreme Personal Godhead, only one, and that is the original personality, and that is Vraja Krishna, Krishna who is in Vrindavan, that Krishna we are worshipping. So what is our role model? Who should we really follow in their footsteps? And that is the Vraja Gopis. How much they sacrifice their personal things in order to serve Krishna. So that is our role model, practical model system. So that we need to follow. So that we will see tomorrow. All right. So that is the real. So today we'll focus on lesson 3, renunciation and pure bhakti. They seem to be like oil and water, don't mix, and yet we are going to learn how to do that. So here, Narada Bhakti Sutra that we have been discussing, it's chapter 1. Still we are continuing theme 1. There are 3 lessons in theme 1. So today is the 3rd lesson of that. And tomorrow we'll begin with the 2nd theme, okay, with lesson 4. So here Sutras 8 to 14, and the theme is the renunciation, what we need to give up in rendering pure devotional service. Okay, that is what we are going to focus. So this is in Narad Muni's instructions are there, all right? And he is giving this instruction to Srila Vyasadeva. And we are following Srila Prabhupada's commentary in this book, okay? As you can see right here. So this is the overview of today's sutras. There are 7, 8 through 14. And what I was just telling you about, the sharp contrast, the contrast couldn't be sharper like this, and yet they turn out to be apparent, not real. So the overall, what is the overall meaning of renunciation that has been spelled out in the 7 sutras. When we are practicing rendering pure devotional service. Okay? So sutra number 8, as you can see, 8, 9, and 10 are totally different than the remaining 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's where the dividing line is there, okay? And there is a sharp contrast. So you can see the top left corner, up front I'm giving you apparent contradiction between the statements of Sutras 8 and 10, what they say, and then completely opposite what it says in Sutras 11 through 14, okay? And how, despite this sharp contrast couldn't be sharper, and yet there is a learning process in that, okay? So what the Sutras 8 says, Sutra 8, to give up all social customs and all religious rituals of Vedic injunctions, okay? Now that is kind of very difficult to digest, okay? Here we are being instructed to give up all Vedic injunctions. Listen, the key word is all social customs. How to understand that? Then Sutra 9 is about exclusively dedicated to the Lord, and Lord is who? That also very clear distinction is there. We are concentrating, we are focusing on Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, and that was the form that he displayed in Vraja or Vrindavan. Okay, and that's the Vraja gopis worshipping. And so here we say, the sutra says that we must be exclusively dedicated with single focus to render our bhakti towards that Krishna. And we must remain indifferent to what it stands in that way. Okay, nothing should really be tolerated if that hampers, if that impedes in our devotional service to Krishna, then that must be rejected. Okay. Then Sutra 10 that you see here, giving up all shelters other than him. That is what we call single-pointed focus, only on Krishna, not the Devi Devatas. Okay, that I had real difficulty myself when I began some 30 years back, 20 to 30 years back. When I started, I went to the same kind of dilemma, how to understand and how to practically discharge these particular instructions. Okay, so that 8, 9, 10 clearly says and that we must, and remember all Vedic injunctions that we must have a single pointed focus. And Vedic injunctions sometimes really says something different. Okay, so 11, 12, 13, 14 now turns around 180, and listen what it says. This says, begins with Sutra 11, except only those activities of social customs and Vedic injunctions that are favorable to devotional service. So now, coming from all injunctions, now we are being told to become clarification, what should be followed, what should not be followed. Okay. Then Sutra 12, we must follow scriptural injunctions even after being fixed that devotional service in the only means for perfection. Again, let me read that so that this sort of really sinks in your conscious. Okay, we must follow scriptural injunctions even after. So see how first there's a clarification, giving up all to now specification, and now we are being told that we must follow, okay, even after being fixed in that kind of ananya bhakti, unalloyed bhakti. Okay, we must follow. That is the only means for perfection. Okay, and then if we still did not understand, here is sharp focus. Otherwise, if we don't do that, there is every possibility of falling down. See that? The focus cannot be sharper than that. Okay. So, Sutra 14, engagement in social, political activities should be limited to keeping body and soul together. So now we are being given a slight hint how we ought to do that. This apparent contradictions. Okay, so what I've done. So what the question I put forward here in the left upper corner, in the answer that I'm giving you, that Devaracharya is or Srila Prabhupada is explained to us. The question is, there is an apparent contradiction between the statements of 8, 9, 10 and whatever that is said 11, 12, 13, 14. So is this real? So here, not really. The answer is that not really. Those which are favorable. So now we are being explained to us that those that are favorable to our bhakti process. What is our goal? to render pure devotional service with single pointed focus and only Shri Krishna. Okay? That must be favorable, whatever that Vedic injunction, those are favorable that we must follow. And those that are contrary, unfavorable, then that must be renounced. Okay, the renunciation and bhakti that I said, like oil and water, but there is a way to do that. That is what we are going to understand. That is what being addressed in this 8 to 14. So this point must be very, very clear to all of you. So in what way? And this was, like I said, 20, 25, 30 years back, I really had difficulties, but now I understand. So now we will go read through these individual sutras, their translation, and then we will discuss what it says, okay? So now we are going to read just the sutras, okay? And their English translation. So Sutra 8 says, Nirodhastu, Nirodha means renunciation, tu but. So there is a big question mark is given in renunciation, but not open-ended renunciation. Nirodhastu, loka veda vyaparas nyasa. So in our day-to-day dealings with people and circumstances, how we should really do discharge this particular practice. That is what's given in Sutra, okay? So the such renunciation, so renunciation is being qualified now here. Such renunciation in devotional service means to give up all kinds of social customs and religious rituals governed by Vedic injunction. Then Sutra 9, Tasmin here, look at this is a composite word, 2-3 words. Fixed, that's a typical Sanskrit. Sometimes the whole sentence could be just one, okay? So you need to learn how to break it apart to be able to understand. So Tasmin Ananyata, Tasmin means that, Ananya, then that's a heavy emphasis that we must focus exactly right there, single pointed focus. Tasmin Ananyata, so that single pointed focus, it's used as a noun, okay? Tad virodha, virodha means opposition, something contrasting. Tad virodha sa udasinata, udasin means then we must remain indifferent. That which is virodha, that which is against, that which is impeding our bhakti towards the Lord, that we must be totally indifferent. Okay. Cha. Cha means and. So renunciation also means being exclusively dedicated to the Lord and indifferent to what stands in the way of his service. Now this is a clear indication that what even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that all these Devi Devatas, that right in our childhood, especially upbringing in India, right in our childhood, we are being introduced all the different Devi Devatas, okay? Ganesha, Lord Shiva, and so many, there are 33 crores, yes, we should never disrespect. Mind well is very, very important. They are great devotees of the Lord, and they are serving the Lord, and they have been empowered in a particular way, and they do give benedictions. Don't doubt about that. Lord Ganesh is known as Vigna Harta. He removes the obstacles. Obstacles not during our material pursuits. People misunderstand that. What it really means, he removes all the obstacles on our path to serve Shri Krishna. Okay. Now, people who really have great Shraddha in different Devi Devatas, they send me pictures all the time, So don't disturb their consciousness, okay? You follow your own instructions, okay? Follow given by in the Shastra. Don't disturb somebody else's, their faith. Eventually they will come, okay? But for us, without disrespecting, but you must clearly understand, So I really have a lot of difficulties to tell them, please don't keep on sending me all these different Devi Devatas to me, but they continue to send, So okay, then tolerate that, okay? And still respect. They are very, very highly elevated souls. They are pure souls, So that is what is given. Renunciation also means being exclusively. So there's ananyata, single-pointed focus on Krishna, that we must be followed. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, actually, in verse 720, and remain indifferent. So don't insult people, their faith, and just diplomat, and just in a kind of a polite way, try to tell them. And if they don't listen, just tolerate. Let them keep sending you. What is so harm? But your focus should not be diverted. So remain indifferent. That is a diplomatic way. Remain udasinta. Sanskrit, what is udasinta means? Indifferent to what stands in the way of your service. Because when they send the pictures of Devi Devatas, it really disturbs our bhakti, okay? Because we are trying to serve Krishna, and that disturbs. But learn how to remain udasinta. How to learn, become indifferent. Let them keep sending you. Then Sutra 10, anya ashrayanam. Anya means other. Taking shelter of all the other Devi Devatas. Among them, it says. Tyaga, ananya tyaga means just give up, renunciation, give up. Ananya, so that we have to follow that, okay? So exclusive dedication to the Lord Shri Krishna means what it means exactly. Giving up all the other shelters. Taking shelter of Ganesh, Lord Shiva, Mata Parvati, like that. If you keep on seeking Ashraya, everybody else, then taking Ashraya from Krishna becomes diluted. That is the problem that we face here. That is why the sutras are really instructing us. You need to be faithful to a particular demigod, then stay there, if your faith is like that. But they are the servants of Krishna themselves. Whatever the benediction that you expect from them, their power to give that benediction also ultimately comes to Krishna. And your faith and bhakti towards them ultimately goes to Krishna, because that is the power. Because like president, all the secretaries, right? Prime minister, and then all the other ministers in his cabinet, they have been given a particular power to discharge their particular job, their particular duties that they are doing. Ultimately, it comes from the head of the government, So that is why. So you must give up anya ashraya. You take shelter from one particular God. That's the supreme God. That's why we have been told that. Exclusive division, ananyata, So word is very clear. It couldn't be clearer than that. Anya ashraya. Don't take shelter of all different demigods and demigoddesses. So that's very clear. Now we are going to see the opposition, the opposite picture. And then there is a clarification, okay, to help us understand. So now text 11. Loka Vedeshu. Loka means the people, in all the Vedic injunctions. Tad Anukula Acharanam. See that composite word, I broke it apart so you can understand. Tad, that, Anukula, that which is favorable, and that which is unfavorable. You need to distinguish. And then Acharana, then behave that particular way. follow that particular way. Tad viroda udasinata, then you need to remain indifferent, that which is impeding your single-minded focus. So indifference towards what stands in the way of devotional service, what it means to accept only those activities of social customs and Vedic injunction that are favorable to devotional service. Okay, Sutra 12. Bhavatu, do it. Okay. Nishchayat, with great determination. Drada, drada means with solid commitment. Drada, dradiyat, urduyam, always do over that. Shastra rakshanam, protect Vedic injunction that way. So now it says that one must continue to follow scripture injunction, complete 180 degrees. But now we are going to learn the qualifications, why it is so, why this not. Okay? One must continue to follow scripture injunctions. Even after one is fixed up and determined, certainly that devotional service is the only means for reaching the perfection of life. So we must remain drada nishchaya, solid, rock solid determination. I keep telling some of you, right? So that's what it is. Whatever you want to achieve, whatever your goals are there, you remain firmly fixed. Don't get diverted. Don't get diluted. See, remember when I tell you to give recap, you first bring out those highlights, But if you try to do summary, so that's a big difference in summary and recap. You want to focus only on those points that you want to leave, the instructions that you must keep in mind. Okay. But when you tell everything what is being discussed, then the main point becomes diluted. So what is the trick here? Right? When you start, tell them what is the highlights that we must remember, and then you go ahead, other things that you want to tell, okay? And then before closing, again come back to the highlights. That is the way to let people sink in what you want them to be understood, okay? There is the way to do it. Bhavatu nishya drada nishchaya udvam shastra rakshanam. You need protect, but you need to understand that, So again, the translation, one must continue to follow scriptural injunctions. Even after one is fixed up, determined, certainly that devotional service is the only means. So you have that that particular goal, okay? So keep that goal always in the mind, and don't get diluted away, and these are the qualifications what you must follow and what should not. Okay, still continue. So now we will discuss. I've been already discussing each particular sutra aphorism while we discuss Sanskrit translation and explanation, and now we are going here. So now Srila Prabhupada gives examples, different verses to really strengthen what these verses are telling us. Okay. So first this, again, now we begin again with 8, okay. Nirodhastu, renunciation. 2, but loka veda vyapara nyasa. So in your daily dealings with people, you need to understand that, okay. So you need to be very, very polite. Even you don't agree with people, don't come out sharp like that, unless you know that person very well, okay. Then that opposing person will understand. But those who do not understand you need to be a little bit diplomatic, okay. You can disagree, so agree to disagree, okay. You can disagree with the people, but in a polite way. So such renunciation in devotional service, what it really means to give up all kinds of social customs and religious rituals governed by Vedic injunction. Okay? So here Prabhupada is explaining a prema bhakta. Now remember, of course, at this point, almost every one of us are really a practitioner. We are not perfected in our devotional goal. Okay, so during our practice, but we must have a goal where we are going, right? When we go, if you don't know where you're going, what's your final destination, then you don't know which path to take, right? So you have to know what is your final destination, and then that path, the shortest path, but without any obstacles, you select that path. Sometimes obstacle comes, then you take a little detour, go around. That you must be prepared. So you're also like that. So our goal is to develop love of God, love of Krishna. Okay, so that's our final goal. We are not there yet, okay? But that's what we intend to go. We intend to reach. So that's why the path is being shown to us. The prema bhakta is freed from all obligations. Now, this a couple of weeks back, I remember Sharad Prabhu was telling us, that even though some of us, maybe advanced, okay, maybe made some tangible progress, and yet, so they said we don't need to follow Shraddha and all these things, and yet, Acharyas, by their own examples, they tell us they still try to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went to perform Shraddha, for his mother, like that. So they teach us, that certain things should be done, but in a way that should not impede your path towards your ultimate destination. And that is a technique, art that we need to learn. A prema bhakta is freed from all obligations. You are not obligated because our goal is to please Lord Shri Krishna. Everything is included in that, and yet we need to follow something such as karma kanda, jnana kanda, yoga kanda rituals. Now you need to understand karma kanda and karma yoga is a difference. Karma kanda is purely satisfying our personal desires, okay? Particular desires we might have, and that benediction we seek from particular demigod, Indra, Surya, Ganesh, and so on, like that. Riddhi Siddhi Mile Hame, all kind of money, big house, nice luxurious car, those kind of things that we have. That's called Jnana Kanda. So I remember, let me give you an example. People invite us, right, to all these different Vedic sacrifices they perform, and whether or not you agree, because of your social obligations, you need to go. And we know particularly why that particular program is fixed. The host is telling us that we are doing this thing because we hope, we are hoping that we get a son or a daughter or whatever, or we need a promotion in our job. This is why we are prepared. We are doing this particular puja, this particular, sacrifice, and you go, and that is against what we are being told here, and still you need to be, respectful. So you go, perform, but see that does not change your views, okay? And don't try to change the other person's view also, because they have that strong faith in that. Gradually they will learn, So Satyanarayana Puja, that's what I was telling you. Satyanarayana Puja is actually meant for worshipping Lord Vishnu, okay? That is a very desirable goal, actually. But what they are worshiping for that, to expect something in material terms. It's like a vyapara, business dealings, and as a pure bhakta, you don't want to do that, right? But you do it out of your social obligations. So that is what I had begun a lot of problems. And slowly I learned how to deal with it. So that is called karma kanda. Then the jnana kanda is slightly above, but jnana kanda also, it is like that. It is like a kind of speculative knowledge. Okay, that is what means Jnana Kanda. But Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga means through your particular karma, you want to worship Lord. Then it is a beginning process. It's like a stepping stone before you come to pure bhakti platform. So these are useful to a point, Karma Yoga. Yoga means to link. So you are linking your karma, to reach the Lord. So it's a karma mishra bhakti. Then a jnana mishra bhakti. Okay. Same way, Ashtanga Yoga. The ultimate aim of Ashtanga Yoga is not just health benefits. The ultimate yoga means to link, like I said. So doing all these different breathing exercises, sitting postures, asanas, is to really control your mind. The mind is very flickering. In all different directions it goes. So bring that mind focus inside, inwardly, to Paramatma who is situated in our heart. That's where you want to focus. So that is the ultimate aim of these yogas. Okay, but people forget. Now it's been mushrooming all over different cities. It's like a craze actually to perform yogas, a meditation, all this. But they are good. But you should learn how it ought to be performed. So that's the big difference between Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and yoga like that. Ultimately, you should use Karma Kanda. This is yoga ladder. Yoga ladder teaches us actually. In the beginning, it is like that, but then you slowly make a progress. And Krishna is guiding us. He is a Paramatma in your heart. He's guiding us slowly, surely, and of course, with the help of sadhu sangha, like-minded people, you associate with them. If you asata sangha, if you use the wrong kind of association, then that is the end of it. So this is what Lalita Madhava, this verse is saying there. So those are ritualistic things, but he has no desire to improve himself except the devotee, the prema bhakta. He needs to please Krishna. Okay, so that's why he needs to worry about that. Okay, then we go further. Text 8, explanation Prabhupada is giving. Okay, we already learned particular verse, famous verse. How do we define pure devotional service, right? Anya vileshata shunyam nana karmadya navratam anukulayena krishnano shranam bhakti uchyate, right? The similar verse is there here also. This is also quite often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. Sarvopadhi. Sarva means everything. Upadhi, designations. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam. Tatta paratvena nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. So what is saying that all the designation that you are Gujarati, you are Maharashtrian, you are Punjabi, you are South Indian. These are outer designation. That's not our true identity, or you're American, you're Indian, like that, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, like that. So you must give up all this designation. You must know your pure spirit soul, Tat paratvena nirmalam. So that is what it says, that nirmalam means without any kind of mixing up, And so all our senses, they must be dedicated. They must be engaged, because our senses in our practicing stage is not pure enough to serve the Lord. So how to purify from other diluting goals to bring it then by focus in Krishna's service. So we cannot control ourselves. So we pray to the Lord, Lord, I'm unable to control my senses and my mind. Please take charge. You are Rishikesha. You are the one who control all the senses. Okay. So you take charge of my senses and you help me control, because I'm unable to do it on my own. Okay. Sevanam bhakti uchan. That is what the true bhakti is being said. Okay. So devotional service to the Supreme Lord means engagement of all your senses in His service, where there are two important features. What are they? one should be purified of all designations. When we learn, that is what the early lessons of Jnana, Atma Jnana, that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul. These designations are bodily related, bodily conception of life. We need to learn we are spirit, soul. That's the first level, okay? Then we are actually the servant of Krishna. We are meant to serve him. We are meant to be enjoyed by him through our devotional service. That is the second part of it, So that is useful in the beginning. But later on, if you continue doing that, then that jnana could be detrimental, because then your heart becomes too strong, too stoic. Heart needs soft. At the bhava stage, we are going to learn Madhurya Kadambine. We are going to learn step by step from Shraddha to Prema stage, okay? So there, only when you come to bhava stage, your heart becomes soft, full of emotions. And through emotions, we serve Krishna, okay? So these are the two important features. One should be purified of all designation, vinir bhuktam, become liberated from all sarva upadhis, all the designation, so-called material designations. Then the second point, the senses should be engaged only in the service of the Lord. That is what exactly the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti allows us to do that. Engage all your senses. Eyes, through the eyes you see the deity of the Lord, okay? With the legs, you walk through the temple, okay? Ears, you hear the chanting of the Lord. Smaranam, then you remember that way, like that. There are 9 Navada Bhakti enunciated by Srila Prahlad Maharaj. So that Navada Bhakti is the part of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So there are 3 components of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. First, it tells us, it gives us the process how to engage each of our senses. That there are 10 senses, right? Pancha Jnanendriya, 5 kinds of Jnanendriya, the knowledge gathering senses, and there are the karmendriyas by which you do karmas, right? And then there's the 11th one, that is the mind. Everything must be devoted. So this Navada Bhakti teaches us how to do that. So engage all your senses only in the service of the Lord, the master of all senses. There is pure devotional service. So that's also another definition given by Narada Muni himself in Pancharatra, deity worship. And all the 10 senses in the mind are engaged in his service through 64. So we learn from Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Srila Prabhupada translated in English, there is Nectar of Devotion. So there are 64 angas, even just going to the temple and paying your obeisances, that is also one of the angas. So that is what the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is all about. So slowly, gradually, you purify all your senses by engaging them in Krishna's service. And then the senses are being purified. So only that. So Vaidhi Bhakti, 3 elements of that, it teaches how to engage. And how to engage, the Vedic injunctions telling you how to do that, okay? Now, we are already being told, you follow only that which are favorable to you, that helps you to reach your destination. And that is unfavorable, that you should not do it. No. So that is there. So second component is the follow Vedic injunction that helps you to make progress in your devotional service to Krishna. Third component, because there are contradictions are there in Shastra, and we are not yet qualified to understand that, how to resolve that. So that's why we need a teacher, a professor, help. So acharyas, they do. What is the definition of acharya, the teacher? Acharya, they teach, but teaching through their own examples, their own life, how they conduct. We learn from that, which is much more effective. Okay. So moving on to verse 9. Tasmin ananyata tad virodha udasinita. Renunciation also means being exclusively dedicated to the Lord and indifferent to what stands in the way of his service. Like I was telling you, somebody is inviting you for their Satyanarayana Puja, and you have to go. But remember, because of course they are doing that to expect some material benefits, but you are going there to pay your obeisances and pay your obeisances to Lord Vishnu. So for that reason you go. So you remain indifferent to their goals. So here, Anyabhilasha, so that's the verse, famous verse. I won't go into detail. The mixed devotion can occur in various combinations. What I was telling you just a few moments ago, Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, okay? And they are, again, also Bhakti could be in the mode of goodness, mode of passion. So those who are performing Satyanarayana Puja, they are doing Bhakti definitely, but their Bhakti is for some personal goals. So there it is mixed with particular karma, jnana, and so on like that. So, and then pure devotee is akama. Now, I need to explain to you what is akama, kama, and vikarma. Bhagavad Gita teaches us that. Karma, you follow those, karma, good karmas, you get good rewards, right? Enjoy in this life, and after this life, go to the heavenly planets, enjoy Stephen billionfold. Okay? Vikarma, that scriptures tells us don't do it. There's a ditch ahead. If you still continue walking in that path, you'll fall in the ditch and get hurt. So that's called vikarma. If you try, follow against that, then there is a sinful reactions will be there, But then, so both good karma and karma that is not good, they each bring certain results, good results or bad results. But even if you do good results, you still have to come back to enjoy that reward, right? But then there's a karma, that which you're doing karma, but you're not getting any reactions. So anything and everything that you do for Krishna, there's no reaction. So that's called akarma. So pure devotee is akama. He's performing, he has a job, he's doing that, okay? And he's maintaining his family and everything. So everything the others are doing, he's also doing, but the goal is different. He's doing, that is akarma. There is no reaction. So desirelessness that Prabhupada is teaching us, because we are not dead stones that we can control our desire. Desires are always there, but slowly and gradually transform from material desires to spiritual desire. How can we really dedicate even material desires to Krishna's service? That is what in our practicing stage we are being taught. So it means that one should feel happy only by experiencing the happiness of the Lord. If the Lord is pleased, then you'll see, you'll become pleased when you in your home deities there, right? We all experience, we all have deities at our home. When we worship, it's not a drag. With great pleasant, with great joy, we do it. That is the very nature, characteristic of serving Krishna. So then he remains indifferent towards what stands in the way of his service. I just told you that politely, if you can say no, then it's fine. But if you cannot say no, you go there, but remain indifferent what they are doing. Abandon all. So this is the final instruction. Krishna gives knowledge. What is karma yoga? So you begin with karma kanda, karma yoga, yoga ladder, right? Jnana yoga, then the Ashtanga yoga, then ultimately come to Bhakti yoga, right? And then finally says, Sarva dharman parityajya, mam ekam sharanam vraja, am tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayas ma sucha. Give up all varieties of religion, because ultimately the point of all religion is to serve him. And if you serve him directly, that already satisfies all the purposes, right? And then he says that it is my job, I'll free you from all sinful reactions that your prarabdha karmas, kutam, bijam, everything will be destroyed by bhakti process. And don't worry, he says, Ma sucha, I will definitely take care of you. So that is what ultimately says that. Okay, let's take a short break. Haribol, before we continue. 1 minute. Okay, for 20 seconds now. Okay, I hope everybody's back now. So now we'll look at the verses that are now qualifying slowly what we must follow and what we must not. And what is the underlying instruction? That which is favorable to your goal, you follow. That which is unfavorable or presenting problems, then you avoid that. So beginning with this, 10 that is still remaining. Direct attachment for the Lord, Krishna, and engagement in his transcendental service are the topmost perfection of spiritual life. Okay? So now we see how to remain indifferent to that which is, that's not your pursuit, that ought not to be your pursuit. So remain indifferent, udasinata, towards what stands in the way of devotional service. Means, what does it actually mean? To accept only that those activities of social custom and Vedic injunction that are favorable to devotional service. So a pure devotee rejects demigod worship, kama state there, with jnana. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, beginning with 7:20, chapter 7, verse 20 onwards, that those who worship demigods, they have kama state, they have material desires. That's why they are worshipping that particular demigod. And that is what a reflection of that person's intelligence. He's really not intelligent. And somebody's performing and going with the goal that I want to earn $10,000. Okay? And the other person, no, I want $1 million. So obviously that person who is asking for $1 million is a higher goal. So here also like that. Material pursuits and those demigods are powerful enough to award you that. Okay, but look at, if you're intelligent, you should know that that is going to keep you firmly anchored on this material platform. You enjoy, then you keep enjoying materially. You have to keep coming back because that conceptions remains your mind when you give your body. Okay, that unfulfilled desires that remains in your mind, and you have to come back. So that's not a real intelligence. Your real intelligence is to get out of it. So somebody is giving that, that kind of money and all this. It's ultimately going to fix you on material ground. You want to become free. So use your higher intelligence, So that's a pure devotee, because his goal is very clear cut in his mind. This is where I want to go. And this is the path which is leading me there. I'm not going to be distracted with another path, So you reject, but you reject in a polite way, diplomatic way, not to hurt the feelings of other person, okay? So demigod worship is very, very tricky, how to avoid that. And worship only Lord Krishna and are his expansions. Even if the devotee has material desires, if he scrupulously worships the Lord, so Krishna himself will give you that desire if you have. But at the same time, unlike the demigods, Krishna will purify our mind from inside. Okay? And slowly we will lose attraction for material comforts. Only that is favorable to Krishna. That please, Krishna, help me. How can I come closer to you? Okay? So that's why I tell him, I cannot control myself. You control, take charge of my senses. That's what Krishna does. Tesham satataputtanam Vajitam Purvakam Dadami Yogitam Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mama Puyantite. So I give necessary instructions. I give necessary intelligence how to come to me. That's what Krishna teaches us. Even if the devotee has material desires, if he scrupulously worships the Lord, he will very soon become purified of all such desires. So Krishna will give you that, but at the same time, he will gradually purify, then you will not want any more of those material desires. Krishna knows what you need. He will give you automatically by himself to you. So if he resorts to demigod worship, he cannot become a pure devotee in any stage of his life. Very clearly said that. So one must continue to follow scriptural injunctions. So now we are learning the qualification, what you ought to do. So those scriptural injunctions that are favorable, you follow. Those which are not, you don't follow. So the way to understand, Srila Rupa Goswami has given this instruction in Upadeshamrita, nectar of instruction. So there are 6 systems, 6 kind of things that you follow that will help you, and the other 6 that are impeding your progress towards ultimate goal that you avoid. So what are the 6 systems? That are symptoms of surrender. Performs only those actions that are favorable to devotional service, rejects everything unfavorable. It's very straightforward. That which is useful to you, follow. That which is not useful to you, avoid, and should firmly believe that Lord Krishna will protect him in all forms. So again, we are powerless. We know what is good for us, what is not good for us, but we are not being able to follow that. So you need to take help from Krishna. Tell him, please help me. I want to come to you, but I'm unable to come on my own. You help me, okay? So when Krishna knows that is ultimately your desire, he will help you. So you should firmly believe in faith and conviction in Krishna's protection and his empowerment. That's what I'm doing that, PowerPoints, 84 lessons I have to prepare, So I'm already way ahead of my schedule. 1 month ahead, I've already completed 36 lessons of these 2 courses. Narada Bhakti Sutra already completed. Even the next course, Madhurya Kadambini, 24 lessons. That also I have completed just yesterday, Now I'm on to the 3rd course. So that is what does that. When you have a final goal, you work with tremendous focus, tremendous determination, and then you must have willingness to make sacrifices that is not helpful to you, So that is what Krishna is helping me that, He's keeping me engaged in his service. At this stage, at this age in my life, many people at my age, when they don't have this kind of goals, they become depressed, and all these things happens. I don't have a time to waste all of these things. The mind is totally focused on this. So that is what we need to do that. I should have conviction that he is the one maintainer, and he should not take shelter of any demigods for maintenance. He will take care of our needs. And that's I have seen personally in my own life. Anything and everything that material things that I need, Krishna provides me, whatever things I needed. Whatever the things are not needed, he takes it out. Remember that one's activities and desires are not independent, meaning he should completely act and think Krishna, whatever Krishna desires. So you please him, and scriptures tells us exactly, all these courses we are conducting exactly tells us who Krishna is, what are his likes, what are his dislikes. Everything is very well spelled out in the clearest possible terms. So you follow that. And the 6th one, devotee should always think himself the poorest of the poor. So he must have that humility, the ultimate requirement for being a devotee. Dainya bhava. Humbleness is there, humility is there, but not ordinary kind of humility. Okay? Ananya, when it's a really, really dainya bhava, you are worse, you are not even good to be a blade of grass below that. That kind of, so whatever I'm doing is not enough, Krishna. Please help me. I should do more. You have given me so many facilities, and now I'm not being able to utilize that. So that kind of dainya bhava is a very, very requirement is there in such. If your goal is this ananya bhakti, unalloyed bhakti, pure bhakti, then that ought to be there. And you take shelter of senior devotees in a very, very humble way. Question that you have, asked them, not in a challenging way, but to gain knowledge. So these are the 6 things that is required. Okay. Now we should avoid those 6 things that are impeding our progress in devotional service. That also Rupa Goswami gives that other 6 things. Okay. The devotee should engage his senses in the Lord's service according to the scriptural injunctions. We were told don't do that, but then we learn the qualification. You follow that are helpful to you. That which are not helpful, you avoid that. And how do you make the determination? Because there are contradictions. That's why you need a guru. Guru, sadhu, and shastra. 3 ways, checks and balances. Guru, your spiritual master. Other Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas, they are your Siksha Gurus. And then Shastra, Vedic injunction. But you need to understand how to resolve those apparent contradictions are there in Shastra. So Narada Bhakti Sutra is a summary of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply by oral reception of these 2 scriptures from the lotus mouth of pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada is explaining us to understand that in the right way. Now one becomes enlightened, gradually we become enlightened, we learn. So Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, once in the beginning stage you need Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, okay? And then you ultimately develop a spontaneous love for Krishna, then that's called Raganuga Bhakti. Actually one can do both at the same time also. Allows us to make progress on this path. So Sutra 13 and 14 now. Otherwise, there is every possibility of falling down. Sutra 13 says that, right? So you should, Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, you should never give up sacrifices, charity, and penance. That you must do that, okay? But charity should not be so luxurious out of these things. That must be avoided, and charity should be given to a worthy cause, worthy recipient. Krishna spells out in Bhagavad Gita very clearly how you should give in charity. Charity that promotes Krishna consciousness, that you should support that, and never to be given up by a transcendentalist. Even if he is highly advanced, he does not consider himself so. So Krishna says very clearly, don't give up that. Then, far as long as the body lasts, one should engage minimally in social and political activities. Joyfulness is a symptom of being in Brahma Bhuta stage. We already learned so much in the very first opening verse, Brahma Bhuta stage. Okay, that's a prerequisite, but that's not enough to make progress. Then it's incumbent on the devotee to avoid eating that is not offered by the deity. Avoid any action tainted by material attachment. All these things must be very clearly followed. Okay? So that concludes today's lessons, and I hope you understood the take-home messages. In the beginning, Sutra says, avoid all kind of Vedic injunction, and then slowly we learn there are qualifications. Follow those are favorable to your goal. Avoid that are unfavorable, but avoid in a way being indifferent, politely do that. Hare Krishna. So open for discussion.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Wonderful session.
Thank
As usual,
you.
Prabhu. Yes, so many questions being clarified, Prabhu.
Harsha, please.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Yeah. I have one question, Prabhu. Okay, where I think Sutra 8, I think it is talking about. Okay, there is nothing to attach the Vedic injections. Okay, it has been talking. Okay, but still you also clarified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did the Shraddha, and you also talked about Satyanarayana Swami Vrata and all that. But like, how do we know that to what extent we can go and where we have to stop these things, Prabhu? Because the relatives do not know that we are in Krishna consciousness, and they keep on pushing on few things. So how do you it is not balancing, but like to what extent we have to go and to what extent we have to cut down? That is where I always get confusion, Prabhu.
Very good question. In fact, I went through all these stages before in my own life also, That's why the word Sutra says being indifferent doesn't, right? In a very polite way, you let the other party know that that's not your goal. That's not helping you, in a very, very polite way, okay? See, now people are constantly sending me, now because of this technology of this internet, they constantly send me pictures of all the other demigods, Ganesh, so many demigods, all the time. So first I try to tell them, please don't, and if they don't listen, in a polite way, explain, and even still they don't listen, then you don't disturb their mind, let it come. So remain indifferent, Vidasinta. Okay? So that's what people invite me to this Satyanarayana Puja, Ganesh Puja, Devi Puja, and all this. So out of social obligation, you have to go, but remain indifferent in a very, very polite way. So even when you go there, you inside you keep praying to Krishna. So that is what I learned, how to do it, how to get it on. And that's the reason why we need this Guru Sadhu Shastra. They explain to us, our Guru, our senior Vaishnavas, who are our Siksha Gurus, they help us understand how to deal with the kind of situation. And when you constantly chant Hare Krishna, constantly means you do your 60 minutes around, but mentally, when you fix it like I'm conducting these courses, my mind is always thinking about these courses all the time, 24 hours, even though I'm not serving 24 hours Krishna, but this is the way my mind is occupied. So you are indeed serving Krishna 24 hours, 7 days a week, 24/7. So this is the way to do it. Even if you go there, that place is not favorable to you, but your mind is not there. You remain thus in what? Okay? And your mind is always what you want to do, what you want to do. So that is the way to do it. That the Guru Sadhu Shastra is there to teach us how to do that. Senior Vaishnavas get help from them. I'm telling you what worked for me. Okay? Not necessarily it might work for you. But adopt in your own life things that is working for you. Use different approaches, like that. So this demigod worship is very, very difficult, especially us Indians. We brought up like that right from my childhood. So it's very difficult. It took a long time for me. I used to argue with Vaishnavas over there in my temple. Why don't you have a picture of Lord Shiva? Because I was a great devotee of Lord Shiva right from my childhood. So I used to argue so much, and slowly, gradually, Krishna made me understand. My Guru made me understand. This is what it is. So Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. Don't bring disrespect. All these demigods are very, very highly elevated souls. Never ever disrespect Mata, Lord Ganesh, Lord Shiva, they are great. But we accept them as they are the servant of themselves, Krishna, servant of Krishna. So in that way, Lord Shiva is in fact, he probably is the one who brought me Krishna consciousness, even though initially I worshipped him. But because I worship the Lord Ganesha is also like that. He himself is a great devotee of Krishna. In fact, that Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, all these things were being written by Srila Vyasadeva. He was the one who helped Lord Srila Vyasadeva. He was the writer. So this is the way to follow Hare Krishna. Am I answering your question?
Yes, Prabhu, I understood. Wherever you are going, whatever you are participating, so keep Krishna in center, okay, in your heart. That is a summary you are trying to say, Prabhu. I understood, Prabhu.
What is things which you want, even physically you might be there, but your sense in somewhere else.
Yes, Prabhu. Got it, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Wonderful, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, great to see you.
Yeah, sorry, bro. I missed a couple of class because I always received your email. Somehow I'm not getting your email, so that's what how I missed a couple of classes. Sorry for that.
You elected to excuse yourself from that.
Yeah, bro.
That.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for a wonderful class, Prabhu. Because of this, I little bit late I joined when our Prabhu, Sanjeev Prabhu sent the link. So thank you so much, Sanjeev Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question that, so last week I was taking the class on the Bhagavad Gita intro program. The devotee, the question is, I'm talking on the topic, who is God? Why so many gods exist? Something like that, that topic is the lesson number 3. The question comes here that, see, Lord Shiva, if you take example of a Lord Shiva is the devotee of the Lord, Vaishnavam Yata Shambhu. You are saying this way, the devotee put the question to me like that, Prabhuji, you are saying that Lord Shiva is a great devotee. And now you are saying that you are not to worship this one part. Now, other side, you are saying that you need to worship the servant of a servant instead of worshipping the Lord. How we need to balance, Prabhu, such question? Could you please elaborate your thoughts on this one?
It's like exactly, he is the greatest Vaishnavas, right? So you worship, I worship him as he is the greatest Vaishnava. So from senior Vaishnava instruction, right? So Lord Shiva also is going to from that kind of mental consciousness, he will help you to come that way. But don't worship Lord Shiva the way the demons worship. That Lord Shiva, give me this, give me that. So that is the distinction. So when you discuss with other devotees, you explain in a very polite way. This is what my thinking. This is what I am being taught. This is where I am being helped. So this is what I am doing. So don't ever disrespect. Lord Shiva is a great personality. He's not Jiva Tattva. He's not Vishnu Tattva. He's in between. Great, actually. Sadashiva is a Vishnu Tattva, of course. And Lord Shiva is expansion of that. So you have to explain them. Still, if the people don't understand, be lenient. Give them their own space and time. Everybody needs their own space and time. So
yes,
don't disturb their own faith. And to them, all these demigods are there. They are the appointed administrators of the universe. Just like a prime minister has a cabinet of, so they are like that. They are need to be respected.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, it makes sense, Prabhu. There. That's what I told them. Yeah, you can worship the God. There is a demigod, whoever you are there, because they are still just startup devotees. But the only thing you can ask the devotees for the Krishna Bhakti, that's what you go to Ganesha. If you want to worship, you can go worship him. But if you don't ask any material things, so you can ask the Krishna Bhakti. That is the ultimate this thing. So the demigods will be helping you to progress in the spiritual path. That's what I give the answer, Prabhu. Just I wanted to confirm.
Right answer, Prabhuji. Right answer. And welcome back.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Anybody and everybody is most welcome, okay? Are there other questions, comments? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Sharat Prabuji to help us enlighten, understand this particular concept and how he himself might have dealt these issues. Prabuji, if you don't mind sharing with that your experience, how to help to understand these things.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I'll cover some of the points. Like in Sutra 8, we learned giving up the social customs and rituals. Now, that means do you have to ask the karmis to live their karma? When you are preaching, there are very many people are also worshipping the demigods, so they are in various stages. Let us see what does the Shastra says and what our acharyas say on this. Now, we know that bhakti is meant for those who have developed shraddha. That is the very beginning entry door for bhakti. But in Bhagavad Gita 3:26, it is given that do not disrupt the minds of the ignorant man who are attached to fruitive activities, fruitive results of prescribed duties. That is, they are following the Vedic scriptures. They are doing as per what is given in the Varnasrama Dharma, but they are still ignorant. And it says that a learned person should not induce them to stop working. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for gradual development in Krishna consciousness. That is what is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, what is being told by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva, Narada Muni there is rebuking Vyasadeva for recommending karma to the ignorant. What Narada means is that if they follow Vyasadeva, then they will get entangled in karma. So they should be asked to follow path of bhakti. Now, on these all sorts of contradictions, what Jiva Goswami comments, he says that they may be ignorant in this life. So go to their previous history, Prachina Samskara, and you will find that they are ignorant in this life only and not in other lives. Therefore, teach bhakti. That means bhakti is recommended for anybody and everybody, whether one is practicing fruitive activities, that is the karma kanda, or he is in the initial stage, he is not very developed, or he is worshipping the demigods, or doing anything else. Everybody should be actually eligible to practice bhakti. This is one thing. Then we spoke about the 64 limbs of devotion as given by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Now please remember that these 64 limbs, they pertain to direct sadhana bhakti. Direct bhakti. Direct bhakti means Sravanam, Kirtanam, like this. Then you may ask a question, what is then indirect bhakti? Indirect bhakti is like this. Suppose a farmer, he is farming, he is producing the grains, but that is not bhakti. But when he offers it to the Lord, then it becomes bhakti. That becomes Aramsiddha bhakti and all that. That we have learned in the classes prior to this Narada Bhakti Sutra started. Then in slide 6, we learned that Prema Bhakta need not perform other social customs. Now, who is a Prema Bhakta? Do we consider ourselves to be Prema Bhaktas? Now, the criteria is Asakti stage and upwards. That is in that one becomes a Prema Bhakta, and below that, he is not a Prema Bhakta. As we know, Rupa Goswami says, Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Kriya Anartha Nivrati Nishtha Ruchi, then Asakti, and beyond Asakti are only Bhava and Prema stages. That means below Asakti stage, you realize the Aishwarya element of the Lord. That's why, as we know, we have been learning about the Brajavasis, the Brajagopis and all that, how they never thought that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they were looking at him in Madhurya. Now, what comes to our mind straight away is that Aishwarya is there. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have to, therefore, we have to follow the Shastric injunctions. We cannot behave like what Yashoda Mata or the gopis used to behave with Krishna. or the Sakhas used to behave with Krishna. They used to climb on his back and play wrestling match and all that. We cannot do because we are not at that stage. That has to be understood by all of us. Then regarding following the social customs, this is actually mandatory. I'll give one example only. When the ISKCON temple in Vrindavana that was being, the Pratishtha was done, when it starts functioning, there is a ceremony. In that, concurrently, the practices of the what is given in the Vaishnava Sampradaya, in the Vaishnava Paddhati and Karmakanda Paddhati, both were going on, because this has to instill faith in others. And in many places we have to do them even if we do not have faith in the Karmakanda activities. This has to be understood. Because we have not reached that stage, the others who are seeing there in the society, we are in the society, they have not reached that stage. That's why this has to be understood by us. Then worshipping the expansions of Krishna, we discussed in slide 9. But if you remember, those who had attended Manasiksha, in that, what it says ultimately you have to get rid of all other expansions and point on, rather stress on Brajendra Nandana Krishna or Shyam Sundar Krishna only and no other. What about this Jnana Marga and Ashtanga Marga? Because many people may get confused. Now, who are qualified to follow the Jnana Marga and Ashtanga Marga and Bhakti Marga? Bhakti Marga is actually, it is open for everybody, anybody and everybody. But for Jnana Marga and Ashtanga Marga, those who have followed Dharma, they have done meditation, they have purified their antakarana, they have understood that we are the souls and not the material bodies. Their aim is to achieve the undifferentiated Brahman, that is the Brahma Jyoti. For a Jnani, there is no difference between him and the Lord. And Ashtanga yogis, they follow Yama Niyama and walk on that path to get the Paramatma. And as we know, the same Lord is known in 3 names. That is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And Bhagavan is the highest feature. The karmis, they also do karmarpanam to purify themselves and obtain the qualification. Thereby, they qualify themselves for the Jnana Marga and the Ashtanga Marga. Now, you have studied the Bhagavad Gita, chapters 1 to 6. They talk about this Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga and Karmarpanam. And that Jnana, please remember, is different than what is discussed in 7th chapter. 7th to 12th chapter, it speaks of Bhakti Yoga. That Jnana and the Jnana which is described in chapters 1 to 6, they are different. In 1 to 6, that Jnana is Brahma Jnana. In 7th chapter and onwards, 7 to 12, what is being spoken is Bhagavad Jnana. But please remember that the devotee's qualification is, he also does karmarpanam. He also surrenders the karma to the Lord. And he also considers that he is the soul and he is not the body. But he considers himself as a servant of the Lord. That is what is very important. And he practices direct bhakti. That is Navada Bhakti, what we have learned. And in Sutra 12, we heard about Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Bharjanam. In this, please remember that the Angi, that is the main, most important thing in this verse given by Rupa Goswami, and it is actually given in Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami. It is Goptraiva Bharanam, that is accepting Krishna as the master. This is the main thing. The others are Angas. This has to be understood by all. And in Sutra 14, please remember that this is the stage of full Shraddha. And what is Shraddha? We have already spoken. Shraddha means acceptance. We accept. We get convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can get me from any situation. He is the one who will help me and not anybody else. And we are committed to serve him. We are committed to believe on him. That is what is Shraddha. Thank you, Prabuji, very much for giving me the time to explain certain things. Thank you very much.
Very good, Prabhuji. Very good instructions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Charu Prabhuji and Sharat Prabhuji, for a wonderful session.
Ramya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Yes, Mataji, you have any questions? Comments?
No questions, Prabhuji. Class was really enlightening. Thank you so much.
Mataji, you've been very kind. Okay, I think if there are no questions, comments, I'm going to request Saga Prabhu to conclude the class with Nrsimha prayer.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obsession. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhai. Namaste Narasimhai. Prahlad Dahi. Prahlad Dahi. Hiranyakashi Purvakshar. Hiranyakashi Purvakshar. Shilatankar Nathali. Shilatankar Nathali. Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha. Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha. Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha. Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha. Bhai Narsingha, Hridaye Narsingha. Bhai Narsingha, Hridaye Narsingha. Narasingha Madin Saranam Prapade. Narasingha Madin Saranam Prapade. Avakala Kamala Bhare. Nakhadbuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipur Tanubringam. Kesavadita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Avakala Kamala Bhare. Nakhadbhuta Singam. Dalita Hiranyakashipur Tanubringam. Kesavadhita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, चारु प्रभु की जय, शरद प्रभु की जय, गुरुदेव की जय, ऑल assembled devotee की जय. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम.
Thank you very much, Saga Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Jai Shri Prabhupada. So I look forward to see you all.